Hi, I'm Gloria Kenyon, Public Programs Coordinator for the Smithsonian American Art Museum and Renwick Gallery. And for this handy hour, we are going to be repurposing old t-shirts into bags. This is the bag we're going to make. It's got handles, a really fun bottom. It stretches as you use it, so keep that in mind when you're making it. And requires no sewing skills and a t-shirt, a ruler, a Sharpie, and scissors. So let's get started. We're just going to start by cutting out the arms. And you want to go about 1 inch in, because these are how we're going to make our handles. Now that we've got those cut out, we're going to cut out the neckline in a big U, and that creates our handles. And if you want to draw this out, you can give yourself an idea of how big you want this to be. I just like to eyeball it. So now we have our handles. We've made basically a little tank top. We're going to turn it inside out. And line the hems back up down here at the bottom. And I want to get this as close to even as possible, because we're going to measure up anywhere between 4 and 6 inches, depending on how big you want your bag to be. I like to go about 4 inches, gives you a big bag, can carry a lot. So I just marked off 4 inches on each side. I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to draw a line across the shirt. And this is going to be our guide, because what we're going to do now is we're going to cut strips up to the bottom of this line. And I like to make my strips about 1 inch, 1.5 inches wide, because we're going to then tie those strips together to close up the bottom of the bag. So we're going to cut every inch or so. I already cut this one. So you can see it's got a nice fringe look to it. And so we're going to just tie these pieces together to create the bottom of our bag. So you don't even have to sew, there's no seaming involved. It's super simple. On the edge of the shirt, I've actually left it together, so it's one less thing to tie, and kind of you can loop it back in and it makes a nicer knot and a nicer bottom. So we're just going to take the front strip and the back strip and tie them together in a double knot. You'll notice as you go, there's still a little bit of a hole right here between the two knots. To close that hole up, we're going to take one side of strip and tie it to the opposite strip. So we took that outer strip and we tied it over. So here I have the strip that goes to the left and the strip that goes to the right. I'm going to bring them together and double knot them. And it pulls the bag together. And it closes up that hole you had between, so you don't have the hole anymore. So I'll finish these up and just knot them. And you can see how closely it pulls together, how they're all knotted across as you go. Let's make sure I actually finish that knot. Then I have the final strip from the opposite side and tie those two together. So now we've knotted all the way across our bag. If you see any that you think look a little loose, want to have a few holes from this side, just tie them across together. You want to make sure it's secure, so when you do use it as a bag, nothing falls through. So now we're going to turn it right side back out. Shake it out. And you can see this bottom seam. We've got a couple of holes. There's a hole here, there's a hole here. This is pretty tight, so I'm going to turn it back in, side out, and tighten those up so I don't have any holes. And they're generally pretty easy to see from the other side. So this one created a problem for me, so I'm just going to tie these together. I see I had a few on this side. Yep, can see those right there. They're pretty easy to spot when you know what you're looking for. I've closed up my holes pretty well. You can see them in layers, and I like to, the scissors are a good test. Can I drop my scissors in? They're not falling out, they're not poking through. You've got a bag. So that's how you repurpose an old t-shirt into a no-sew bag. You've got a great tote, it's easy to carry things, nothing's gonna fall through, and if you start to see some holes or some stretching, just tie it back up.